Let's go further in depth now as we're joined by Stephen J.J. Weisman, an attorney as well as professor at Bentley University. Stephen's also the author of the book, Identity Theft Alert, 10 Rules You Must Follow to Protect Yourself from America's #1 Crime. Stephen's such a busy guy. He also has a blog online, scamicide.com. Stephen, we always appreciate your perspective on these things. The J.P. Morgan Chase story here. What can you add to what we've already heard?
Well, one of the things that's very, very troubling is when the story first broke in late July, early August, they talked about a possible data breach at J.P. Morgan Chase and 4 other banks. We haven't heard much about that, but recently the FBI has indicated that may be as many as 10 other major financial institutions. And it made me think about a comment made recently by the FBI director, who said there are 2 types of companies. There are the companies that have been hacked, and there have been the companies that just don't know they've been hacked. And you're right. This one seems to be traced back to Russia, and we're still having trouble kind of figuring out, was this a shot across the bow that Russian security was trying to say, see what we can do, or is this the first step? Because one of the troubling things here is, yes, there was not account information taken. There was personal information taken that could be used by identity thieves to try and trick people, lure people into providing personal information. But more than that, what these hackers got was a list of all of the software programs used by J.P. Morgan, a chance to review those, how they interwork, and where the vulnerabilities are. I mean, this could be the first shot at what could be a cyber 9/11.
Now, Stephen, let me ask you something. I mean, a lot of people are saying this could have been a lot worse. Would you agree, considering that, like you just said, it was only the names, the addresses, really no social security, no bank accounts information?
You know, I'm going to quote one of my kids when they were little. They invented a word that they called yebbit. And yebbit is, if you slow it down, it's yeah, but. If indeed this is accurate and all that was obtained was software information which can be changed, names, addresses, phone numbers, then yes, this is kind of a real good wake-up call. My concern is that perhaps some real sophisticated malware is in there, and there may be further information that's stolen that we're just not even aware of it yet.
Stephen, you've already made mention of FBI Director James Comey's interview on 60 Minutes last night, but the distinction he made went a little further than what you characterized. He said companies already hacked by China, and those have been hacked by China that just don't know about it. With all the talk about Russia, is China still the main culprit in all of these things?
They are, but it's very, very different, the kind of hacking that's going on in China from Russia. Russia's seems to be primarily destructive. What China is doing is cyber corporate espionage. They are trying to, and are succeeding at, getting into our companies and stealing trade secrets. They are doing this as part of business. They're denying it, but China is still the biggest threat to our economic system with what they're doing. Theirs is not a warfare. Theirs is an unusual way of doing business.
Now, Stephen, this may be a far-fetched question here, but any ideas or any advice you would give in terms of protecting all of us from cyber crimes, or is it kind of like almost impossible?
Well, you know, I did a column that you can find online in USA Today in response to what happened at J.P. Morgan about this, and gave a number of tips. But one of the big things is, in regard to the J.P. Morgan hacking, they have your name. They have your phone number, so you can get a call that appears to be from J.P. Morgan and just asks for some confirming information. And so one of the best things is, don't be your own worst enemy. No matter how legitimate a phone call appears, and even if it's on caller ID that says it's from J.P. Morgan or Chase, you can't trust it, because scammers, hackers, identity thieves can do something called spoofing and fool your caller ID. So you never click on a link, you never provide information, or you don't download attachments, you don't provide information to anyone you have not contacted. So even if you get such a contact and you think it may be legitimate, and maybe it is, you can't trust it. So you go to the phone number you know is accurate, the email address you know is accurate. That's really one of the best things you can do.
Stephen, I'd like to talk to you now about a live tracker that has been designed by cyber intelligence experts at Norse Corporation. As we take a look at it, apparently this shows all the cyber threats occurring right now in real time. And as I look at this schematic, well, this map of the world, I think about a trip to Japan where they had this map that lit up with all sorts of seismic activity on that island nation. There is so much going on. Is this just the new reality for American business and all business?
It is, and we really have got to learn from this. Unfortunately, we're all interconnected. That's part of it. That's the internet. That's the global village. That's what all was not done with proper security because they weren't even thinking about this. So this is the way it is today. You know, even paranoids have enemies. There are things that we can do, and there are steps that we can do to make ourselves safer. There's nothing we can do in this world today to make ourselves truly 100% safe.
Stephen, about 20 seconds. We've heard about Morgan Chase. Obviously, this is huge.
Because the Russians aren't really as interested in JP Morgan and the retailers rather than they are the banks. So the retailers are going to hit again, and some of these other financial institutions, those are going to come to light.
Stephen J.J. Weisman, we always appreciate your insights. It's some scary news, but you're a guy in the know, and we appreciate the warnings you give us. Thanks so much for your input this morning.
Great talking with you.
Stephen J.J. Weisman there on emerging computer threats. More of America's Forum following this Newsmax Now update.